And just fade away to his right as Michael Porter Jr. is flying in from his left.
Jokic, the face up on Marquise. Going to try to back him down. A little spin move, and then just the skills of Nikola Jokic and Bazemore, Marquise Chris, and Brad Wanamaker. Monte Morris finding Michael Porter. And that's a nice drop off for a young player.
That's why they got him. That's why he's here.
Now, Facundo Campazzo from Real Madrid has checked in for Denver. I'm anxious to see him as Jokic.
What is up, everybody, and welcome into the post-game lounge, the preseason lounge here at DNVR HQ, the DNVR bar, which at the moment is vacant and empty.
That's right. Here we are.
But what is not vacant and empty is our hearts.
I was going to say that.
Yeah. This music is like super loud, Kale. I don't know if it's like coming out through the broadcast that way, but it's like blaring in my ears. So welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Adam Manes, and I'm joined by my esteemed colleagues. Seated over here to my right, it's Brendan Vogt.
Fellas, I don't know if I've ever felt so lit after one preseason loss.
You put on your best dad shirt here, man. You're ready to party.
It's summer whenever I say it's summer, baby.
It's not summer. And over here to my left, it is D-Line Co. You guys know him as Eric.
Does that mean that Brendan has not yet said it's summer?
That's right.
I do think that's what it means because it's actually freezing cold out there.
It doesn't resemble summer in any way.
Not freezing cold to me, though, as I sit here with my beautiful new hoodie here.
Look at you.
Yeah, look at me, baby. I'm looking good.
Did you pull some strings?
I did pull some strings, and I got them. We got a new shipment in. But, guys, before we get to the exciting news about the Denver's very first preseason game, I am excited to inform you that the DNVR Nuggets have made a huge acquisition in the offseason. A huge acquisition. So many people are calling it the best offseason in the entire blogosphere.
Many people.
Many people are saying this.
I hadn't heard that.
We have acquired from Mile High Sports now, DNVR Nuggets podcast, Devalier Johnson, everybody. Devalier Johnson. Look at this.
Look at this.
Look at this.
Look at this.
Excuse me, I think I mispronounced your name. It's actually Superstar Dev.
It's
is that
Superstar
right?
Dev.
Superstar Dev. You could say Superstar Dev, Devalier, the most handsome guy in every room.
Whoa.
Whatever you want to do.
That's what
Wind is not in the room yet.
Yeah, that's
it
true.
depends on the angle, though. It's the angle that you
Well, this is a bad angle
Yeah, I was
for
gonna
what
say,
I'm looking at to see the monitor.
So next time I have to go on the other side. That's why Harrison gets it, because he's on that side.
Is that
the good
it?
side.
I just thought he had a natural sort of je ne sais quoi. But you're saying it was all angles. All right, well, we learn something every day.
So you guys don't know, Superstar Dev has been on the show a bunch of different times, and
we beat him pretty soundly.
We have beat him
in the fast food draft. I'm actually amazed that you will show your face here after your showing in the fast food draft. You know when Dev drafted Pizza Hut?
I think about Dev every time I drive past the Subway and don't even consider
You picked
stopping.
Subway, like, oh my God.
There was mistakes made that night. That was a rough day. I felt really good early on, and then as the days went on, I was like, you know what, this was a very bad decision.
Oh my
I think
God.
I just wanted to give back to the people. I'm a people person.
You are a people person. You're such a people
He is a
person.
people
So I tried
person.
to
will
give back
say
to the people. So whatever happened that day was not really
All
what
right,
it-
all right.
I don't go to Subway.
No
So-
one goes to Subway.
So it's exciting news. Our squad is now complete. We have a perfect starting five, an incredible starting five. Versatility. We've got a little bit of length. We got incredible passing, some great shooting. I think we got a little bit of everything now. We did fire Harrison. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding. Of course, Harrison, if you guys don't know, so Dev's going to be joining us now every post-game show. He'll be a regular on the post-game show throughout the entire season. And Harrison right now, as he is always, if you guys are new to the show, we're going to be going live, obviously, post-game every single game throughout the preseason, regular season, postseason. We're going to be doing bringing you these shows. But Harrison, as you know, he's our reporter, our beat reporter here at DNVR. He actually
He's the only one worth listening to.
Yeah, he does all the hard work. And right now he is speaking with Michael Malone. He's speaking, I assume, with Facundo Campazzo, who I think is the storyline of the Denver Nuggets preseason game one. Probably not speaking to Bull. I didn't have a lot to say after this game. But let's get into all of the details. I always start with our first takeaway, our big takeaway. And I'm going to start with our new guy, Dev. Big takeaway from this game.
Campazzo, there's no way that you go this game without talking about him.
He is storyline number one.
That's a person that I had multiple people. They text me and they're like, "Who is this guy? Who's the little guy on the court right now?" And the people that like follow the Nuggets and the people that really have been in tune, they've been excited about that. He's a great acquisition. He's one of the best passers in the entire world. Great on defense, as we seen all day, and he was a star today. So that was amazing for him to come in and to have that type of preseason game as his debut. So,
Eric, to me, the defense is what stood out more than the offense. I mean, we've all this talk about his passing, flair and this or that. What we've been hearing out of camp, like when they first got acquired, it was all the passing highlights. And then as you go through camp, you start to hear more and more about the defense. And I think Luka Doncic said, I don't like playing against that guy because he's so annoying. I get it now. I 100% understand what he means.
That's right. Yeah, it's not even necessarily the defense or the offense. It's just the fact that he's just like a little gnat. Like he just buzzes around and he never stops and he dives for balls out of bounds in a preseason game. And he's like he just doesn't have a toggle switch, and it's like so amazing to see. But I just envision myself on the other side of that coin, like if he was like JJ Barea, and like when I would watch
you would hate him.
Yeah, and I was like, I can't stand this dude. But like having him on our squad, it feels good. I feel nice.
That is exactly how I would describe him. He's like a mix to me. I mean, look, we've done our research on him. We've watched some of the games. We obviously remember him from the Olympics and this or that. But this is our first where we're paying attention to him live in real time and like, okay, he's our guy. We want to analyze him. And I mean, he really does remind me of Dellavedova and JJ Barea, two guys that are small and have to, by nature of just their size, have to play at 100%. He somehow is like them on like 100 cups of coffee.
I can't figure out that Dellavedova comp watching him chase the Warriors around like it was a finals game.
That's
out
true.
There.
It was the Warriors.
I also, my first Facu take, what is he, 5'9"?
Yeah, he's pretty small.
That's a stretch at 5'11". But this is the man that Michael Malone has waited his entire life to coach.
It is so true.
He is the point guard he wants. He is the defender he wants. And, hey, look, I think we'll see his size come into play over the course of the season, probably in the playoffs. But our first taste, how did he look defensively? Locked in.
Delicious.
I buy the defensive impact. So the thing is we were all concerned about him, and I think still are. This concern's not going away. Guys, this is the NBA. It's the best basketball league in the world by leaps and bounds. And I'm not saying that as disrespect to the European leagues, which have only gotten better, and they have their positives that even the NBA can't match. I mean, first of all, the effort level. But this is a league that has, in my opinion, the greatest athletes in the world. When you combine size, strength, speed, all of those different things. And so Facu coming in, it is a real wonder about, is he going to be at a disadvantage? We even saw in the fourth quarter, hand up right in the guy's face. The guys just shoot it over him because he's so small. But there's benefits to being that small, too, if you can exploit them. And I felt like Facu all night was exploiting them, getting into people's space, drawing fouls, just being annoying. And it just seems like he can do this.
And one of the things that he kept doing, guys, they'll be strong enough and they'll push you.
Yeah.
It's a physical league. It's the fastest, the strongest, the best players in the world. And then you have a little guy that's just on you the entire game, and then he falls over, and then the refs are like, we have to call something. He's getting pushed over right now. It's kind of cheating in a way. Like when you watch Dellavedova, you watch Barea and those type of things, you hated those players because they weren't on your team. But now that he's on the Nuggets, he's on a team that you're rooting for, you're like, how could we not love this type of stuff? And then also you brought up the European basketball and how it translates and goes to different ways. The willingness to pass and make the extra pass, and it's very contagious, playing defense every single play. Because a lot of people are going to say, is he going to be able to keep that up for a full year?
Well, I am asking that. This is what I do want to ask this question, though. I'm being dead serious. This is the NBA, and it's a 72-game season with 3 months shorter than usual. So they're going to be playing every other night. I honestly, and I'm not being a troll here, I don't think you can play that hard for 72 games. I think you have to pick your spots. Am I wrong?
I think with him, I think you can, just because he is a backup, and not only is he just a backup, he's a backup to Jamal Murray, he's a backup to Monte Morris. So he's not playing every single game all game long. If he was in Jamal Murray's spot, of course, it'll be very difficult for him to be able to do that. But when you get to pick and throw him in those spots, and now I think that's why Malone was so excited and so happy, because he has a guy that he always wanted to play like, and he's always wanted to guard like that. You could just throw him in there for a moment or two. So I think that he plays in some very pivotal moments and pivotal times, and that's going to be amazing.
So, go ahead.
Well, I'm just curious, and if they're watching, please let us know in the comment section, our Argentinian brothers and sisters. But is that
welcome in. Bienvenidos.
Bienvenidos.
Is that debut energy from Facu? I'm getting the sense that's how Facu plays in practice. But diving headfirst for the ball.
Yeah. That was out of
control. Is this just who he is?
So some of the stuff we've hinted at coming into camp, right? We talked to a lot of people, Nuggets coaching staff, front office player, people around the team, and asking what's going on. What's going on behind closed doors? What are you seeing? And the number one thing that everybody has said is that Facu's defensive impact is real and that his intensity level is just hilarious. So my guess is that no, this is actually what you get with him.
Right.
Whether or not you burn out and you lose something, we're going to find out. But I don't think that this was opening night energy. I think this is just you're going to get that Facu when he's on the court.
Yeah, the chat is telling us that this is what to expect from Facu.
24/7, 365.
I do love it though. I do love it. I mean, it wasn't just token hustle. Like it was meaningful hustle. I mean, it was also disciplined and on point. I mean, I was mentioning this as we were watching the game. If you watch him. Again, this is going to sound like I'm ragging on the NBA, the league I love, but like NBA players don't always dot their I's and cross their T's, right? Like a shot goes up, not everybody on the perimeter is boxing out because the guy on the perimeter rarely grabs the rebound. It's like, okay.
Especially in preseason game
Yeah, exactly.
one.
His preseason game is like, okay, well, I'm not going to do this little thing because 99 out of 100 times it doesn't matter. If you watch Facu, even when he's not in the middle of things, he's just doing every little thing, like chopping his feet to close out, boxing out. Like just everything is so technical with him, and it's just like, wow, this guy really is just like on Adderall.
Yeah.
Well, I think, look, I can't speak to the basketball portion of this, but I can speak to half of this. When you are sized a certain way, you got to go about things differently. And Facu, I mean, I don't think he has.
We're going to have small guy corner with
the tiny kingdom.
All jokes aside, though, not a ton of room for error. And so he's
totally
built a career out of the little things. And then he's
all the small things, baby.
He's pressing every possession.
Absolutely.
We were talking like when the fact that like what Dev was talking about, he's just smaller, so like he gets pushed down. It looks like a foul all the time. It's like playing when you played GoldenEye and used odd jobs.
Oh yeah, he is odd job. Oh, this is so insulting. But it is true.
It's just like an unfair advantage through the fact that what should be a mark against him, he's used like judo. He's turned it against his opponents. It's very remarkable.
Okay.
I can't wait to see it.
Okay, so we're going to be doing today's show, guys. The theme of today's show is Stonks Report. Can we get the Stonks Report up here? If you guys don't know, this is one of our little games we like to play on the show. There's Jokic looking terrifying. Stock up, stock down. What are we thinking? here? All right, Facundo Campazzo, guys. Right now we have Let's Go. We have we have Buy Now. We have Wait and See, and we have Sell. Eric, I'm going to let you start here. Are you how hot? It's one preseason game. I'm going to be honest.
You're right. All right.
I'm going to make fun of everybody on this panel that overreacts to the preseason game number one.
Let's take it down a notch. Let's take it into all right, this is the first preseason game.
Right.
It was only the second half that he looked good, and I'm going to say, buy now. This guy looks incredible, dude. Let's go.
Let's go. Oh, buy now is it?
That's right. No, I want let's go. Let's go.
So funny. Let's go. Okay, you're all the way in on him. Vote. Where are you at on it after one preseason game?
Buy now.
Yeah. I think that's right.
Buying stock. Look, we just talked about does he have any left in the tank? Does he have an extra gear? Because that was not everyone else's top gear out there in preseason.
Definitely was not.
So.
Update: Facu jerseys are officially sold out on the
We're told Facu jerseys are officially sold out. There's the comment. So I think there was plenty encouraging there, but obviously you want to wait and see how this translates in.
There's nobody that
Give me
the
all
city
the
of Denver
Facu
likes
stuff.
more than the little hustler, and like Facu is actually good too.
No.
So, Dev, how in are you going to go on him?
So it was weird.
Don't be a
for me
coward,
today.
Dev.
It was weird for me today because I don't know if you guys know, but Vlatko played today.
He did play. He did play.
Nobody talked about him because
right.
Facu was there.
Dude.
I'm buying now. I'm buying.
Let's go. There's a new darling in town.
I think I'm officially at buy now as well because I can't go all the way to the let's go because there's going to be so many questions about him throughout the year and like this and that. But you know what I am buying is that I think he is going to wrestle more and more of the identity of the second unit. That's the one thing I would say is that second unit, and we're going to talk about them as a whole because they're very up and down. It's a very uneven game from the second unit. But I do wonder if they need a little bit more of a floor general. And just like Monte doesn't make any mistakes or this or that, but Facu like brings that intensity and that fire, and I think that's going to be the identity of that second unit thanks to him. So I think he's there. I think he's going to be there, and I'm a lot more optimistic than I was, I would say, 2 hours ago about Facu's ability to hang around.
Listen, we came into this game with just nothing but unknowns. I mean, almost nothing was answered except for the fact that it's like, oh, Facu can do this against this level of competition. Granted, we're talking about whoever that was on the floor that was not necessarily the Warriors. I mean, I don't know what percentage of those players actually play in a meaningful rotation for that team, but like those are by definition NBA players. He looked like he was very much in the right place.
So he's the story of the game from game one. I think no questions asked about it. He is easily the headline. Let's move on to some of the other things that happened in this one. And here's my second headline for you. You guys can tell me if you agree or don't disagree. Nikola Jokic looks like he has like upped his intensity from the bubble somehow. Like he looks like he's dialed in. Let's just talk about the body first. Let's go male form corner here. Looks as skinny. I was almost complaining. He looks like he doesn't have an ass. Like he lost his ass. I'm very concerned about this.
Don't tell Phil Jackson.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Adam went in on this observation pretty heavily throughout the game.
Had a lot of commentary about Jokic's ass today. No, but seriously, I mean, he looked incredible. I pull up the stat line here real quick. 26. Dude played 23 minutes. He gets 26 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. Does not throw a turnover. He did get 4 fouls, which is a little weird. He goes 9 for 11 from the field. This dude to me looked like
it's on, dude.
I mean, it's on for Jokic.
So
is it the homie Miroslav, shout out Serbian corner, that propagated this take? We're skipping November Jokic this year.
It's so true. We did skip it.
We literally did.
He came in and he looks like he did at the start of January, at the start of the new year. Usually, he looked quick. He
did look quick.
He was running the floor. So yeah, look, it's a preseason game. You temper your takes. But he looked like first-team All-NBA level.
Well, so here's what's funny is I didn't feel like Jokic was looking for his shot tonight, and he had 26 points. Like this wasn't a Jokic.
Mara's noted ass man.
Likes big butts. I cannot lie.
I cannot lie.
The worst part is that Adam lies frequently, but it's not about asses.
No, but I'm being serious. I mean, Dev, what did you tell? I mean, to me, I have our Jokic preview is going to be our second to last one, so I don't want to, I don't want to give too much away here. I'm optimistic about Jokic, man.
How could you not be? Even though it was a preseason game, like he did a lot of things that you question. And then also with Jokic, he's one of those players that is just kind of like, it doesn't even look like he's trying out there. It doesn't look like he's doing much. And then you look at the box score, and he has 9 rebounds. He has, 17 points. And you're like, where did that even come from? Especially with the rebounding.
He had 14 points. It was the 14 when I was like, he has 4. I thought he had 2 buckets.
Nine of those were second chance lightning.
Right.
When we as a unit realized he had 14 points, the reaction was he all started laughing.
Yeah.
We're like, what? What do you mean he has 14 points?
He looks really, really good. And I mean, we talked about this. I mean, I have my own theory of this, and I think you share this one, Vogt, because we've had many discussions about this both on the air and off. But I felt like Jokic's transformation came almost exactly a year ago. It was December 4th when he played against Anthony Davis in the regular season. After having like 2 months, 6 weeks basically of sluggish basketball, he did hit a bunch of game winners, but he didn't look great. And then he gets his butt kicked by Anthony Davis in a regular season game. Yeah. And I thought from that moment on, he started losing weight. He started getting serious. I'm telling you, man, this is my own theory. I'm projecting onto him, but I'm watching him and I'm reading all the tea leaves. I think he is more motivated than we've ever seen, and I think he's more aware of what it takes. And I just coming in when I saw the pictures of him in camp, looking all skinny, and you see the videos of him just like going through all these drills at 100%, and then you go out to the night and you're like, oh yeah, this guy is like dialed in. I think I'm expecting big things from Jokic, man.
It was great to not be tricked this year. We always see the skinny Jokic come out.
We're always tricked. You're so right.
And then we see him in person at Media Day, and we're like, that's the same Jokic that we had seen before. But today he looked like a very different Jokic. And what everyone's saying is you can see him running up the court full speed. And I think that really did add a lot to him. And we already see him as a great rebounder. Now he gets to get up a little bit more. He gets to get into positions a lot earlier. Mm-hmm. It's going to be great for him to lose all that weight and be able to do it for longer.
That game you mentioned, when Anthony Davis got the better of him in Denver in the regular season, I had a very cool conversation with Vlatko that night, and the gist of it was just that Jokic is actually far more dialed in than even folks like us give him credit for. He's got the goofy, aloof thing, but yes, he cares. And if he falls short in a close game, if he falls short in a close game, that bothers him, right?
Yeah.
If he falls short against Anthony Davis, he brings that home with him.
Absolutely.
So he's always cared more than we think.
Yeah, and so I'm excited. I'm very, very optimistic. He looked like, when I pictured, like, I think Jokic is dialed in. What do I need to see from him? This is what I need to see. And then is also one of those things, like I said, they played Jokic ball, I thought, tonight, or tried to. They tried to. I mean, we're going to talk about some of the reasons, in my opinion, that they sort of failed at that. But what I mean by that is Jokic was finding the ball, just kept finding him. And, like, when your best player, when the ball finds your best player, they end up with a bunch of points that you don't even remember because he just converts. Every time you get him an A-plus look, he converted it because it's at the rim or rebound or whatever. I do want to talk, though, about one thing with the starting unit because we can kind of go a little bit more broad here. Jokic looked great. I thought Murray was dialed in, even though maybe the stat sheet a little bit underwhelming.
He's a little sloppy.
No, but you know what, though? Defensively, I thought he was dialed in. I thought he played phenomenal defense. I love to see how much he was up on the sideline throughout this game. I think I know this is little stuff, and it's game one of preseason. It's easy to be a great leader, but Murray, we've seen him segue more and more into the emotional soul of the team and the leadership role. And I thought tonight when I was watching it, it felt like he was that more than in seasons past. But here's what I noticed from that first unit. Michael Porter has an enormous amount of gravity. We're going to talk about him in detail too, guys, because there's a lot to talk about there. Jamal Murray has an enormous amount of gravity.
Yep.
Nikola Jokic has an enormous amount of gravity. I felt like the Warriors were basically all in on those guys, and then Millsap and Gary Harris, they were more or less daring to make plays. I mean, early on in this game, I felt like Millsap and Gary were taking a bunch of shots, but it wasn't bad shots. It was just that's what the defense is going to give you.
Right.
And tonight, at least, they didn't convert. Especially in that first stint. I mean, they looked like, okay, Denver's going to generate 8+ looks for their B- guys, and those guys just need to knock them down. What do you think about that? Vote.
Sorry, go to Dev.
Dev, what did you think about the first unit then, overall, and how it looked?
I think it was great. Like you said, with players like Jamal Murray and Jokic and Michael Porter Jr., the gravity is what stands out because everybody is so fixated on what's happening over here that you forget Gary Harris is running. And that's why we see Jokic with a lot of full-court passes because everybody's like, "What? He has the ball. That's the person that we want to slow down. That's the person we want to stop." And now you have somebody else that's just going by himself. And then with Paul Millsap, you just know what you're going to get. You're going to get the pump fake, jab, and then he's going to go and score. So
he was rough tonight, though. He was 2 of 9, and I think he was 0 of 5 or something to start. And those weren't – I didn't think they were tough looks either. I thought they were – again, this is one preseason game. We can't jump into it. But I thought – to me, it's a little none of this you can take – I don't think any of our takeaways today can be too solid. But this is one where I'm like putting a little tally in the column of, okay, Gary and Millsap look like they're going to be ignored this year.
Right.
And can they punish them?
Sorry, go.
Well, I actually thought Gary got a lot of run there. Like he had the ball in his hand a lot. He was making a lot of cuts. He was making a lot of shots, or at least I should say he was taking a lot of shots. We noted he had some kind of ridiculous things happen to him as he was charging to the rim. Like several times he got laid out.
Yeah, he did.
But Gary looked a lot leaner. Like that was my one takeaway with Gary. And again, he brought the braids back. We've talked about it. Dev likes it. You like it. Brendan, do you like it or not like it? Let's get an official.
Gary's hair?
Yeah.
I'm for it.
All right.
I'll tell you what. I don't feel strongly about it one way or another the way you do.
That's the appropriate way to feel about another man's hair.
I did. I'll tell you what I did feel about Gary tonight. Yes, there was a lot of Gary. Harrison Wind noted this on Twitter. He was very aggressive.
Yes.
In terms of going to the rim,
yes.
Which is, I would argue, even the top thing.
More so than shooting. I agree.
Because I actually think the shooting's closer than some people give it credit for. And so, I mean, I think as a spot-up shooter in the corners, he's actually not as dreadful as we talk about him, but that's sort of neither here nor there. He's going to have those opportunities.
Yeah.
And I do think, when you play with guys like MPJ, Jamal, and Jokic, you don't actually have to be a third or fourth option to score. You're going to get your opportunities.
Yeah.
So being aggressive, and so I liked what I saw from Gary tonight.
I think with Gary, we talked about him being lean. We talked about him being a lot more aggressive.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, what we seen was him healthy.
Maybe. Yeah.
I think that he felt a lot more healthier. He was able to get to his spots. He was able to play the same defense that he's used to, and you could tell by how everybody else kind of gathered around him. He was a pest on defense. He had a lot of strips. He had a lot of pokes.
Yeah, he was.
And things like that. We're seeing Gary Harris be able to get back to that. So maybe it was a little bit shocking for him to be out there against other people and doing those exact same things that maybe we are seeing in practice or that the players are seeing in practice and things of that nature. So I think that Gary being healthy.
That's exactly right. Gary finally being Harris.
Yeah,
Being Harris.
Finally.
That's
I think that changed a lot of it.
Yeah. All right. So stonk report for Gary Harris here. I'm
Where's
gonna go.
the stonk?
I'm gonna go ahead and go into wait and see. I'm gonna preempt you guys here. Wait and see. There's some positive signs. There's some negative signs.
Sure.
Wait and see. This is a stock we have to put alerts for. We're gonna keep monitoring it.
We can't dump this stonk. This stonk has performed well in the past for us. It's primed for a rebound.
It's a real rodeo stonk. It is. Yeah.
Listen, you can't dump this stonk just yet, but we need to temper your
wait and see
bit.
over
You're right.
here.
It's a wait and see.
Look, Gary is like the most wait and see. It's going to be like 6-7 games in a row before we start to have this conversation.
I'm going to sell my stock.
Oh, Dev coming in hot.
Whoa.
Playing a little devil's advocate.
We don't know how healthy he's going to be or how long it's going to be for.
Yeah.
So it's kind of wait and see in a
Sell
way.
it
But
out.
it's like, if I sell it now while he's
Unbelievable.
okay,
You're
after
selling
I just
high?
hyped him. I just hyped him for you guys. You guys will buy.
Yeah, we'll take his stock.
By the way, Jokic, we forgot to get Jokic's stonk, but I'm going to go all the way at
dude.
let's go.
Yo.
For me, I'm telling you, I'm so sold on this year being Jokic's. I think he's got it this year.
I think
He's got it every year, but I think he's really got it this year.
I think it's so appropriate, as it always is, but especially this year, that he is the face of the stonks graphic.
Anybody else not a let's go? Are we all let's go on
all
Jokic?
let's
Are you
go.
let's go?
I'm all in.
He's all in. Dude, he's got room in his portfolio after dumping all that Gary stock.
Oh, God. Yeah, for real. Jeez.
Oh, I just want to say, we see you in the comments. We're not bringing them up right now because we're at the bar. We will get to Zeke. Patience, my friend.
Oh, yeah,
It's
we're
a
going in
virtue.
order here, guys. We got to go in order.
Yeah,
And
you don't
Zeke-
tell us what to do. You listen to what we have to say.
But if you are watching, guys, by the way, this is a podcast that goes up on DNVR, the DNVR Nuggets podcast, which you can always check on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. But we also do it live on YouTube with a few video elements and things like this. You get to see our ugly mugs. So if you are watching on YouTube right now, I highly recommend you hit that like button, you hit the subscribe button, you hit the little bell next to it so you always get notifications because we're going to be doing this every single game, all Nuggets season long. Hopefully at some point we actually have fans inside of the bar because the world has gotten back to normal.
Hopefully we're fans inside the bar.
Yeah, hopefully we're fans.
Hit the like button. What are you guys scared?
Yeah, hit the like button. Let's get this thing over to 300. So I want to now go to the second unit. And we talked about Campazzo, so let's talk about the other aspects of the second unit. That first stint that the second unit played was absolutely horrible. And it looked like these guys just met each other a week ago, which they did. They did just meet each other. But beyond just the lack of chemistry, lack of familiarity, I also thought there was a lack of spacing and shooting. You got Campazzo and Monte, which we're concerned about because they're both so small, hemorrhaged points, but I think it had, to me, it had as much to do with the fact that they didn't score.
Yeah.
Like that unit was always playing in transition. Hartenstein, Jermichael Green, who was the three in that lineup? Composure. PJ Dozier. So they end up going with Dozier at the three. That lineup just looked really, really rough in this game. I'm going to go to you first, vote.
I mean, I think what you saw there was a lack of what maybe last year could have been Michael Porter Jr. at times. This year, if healthy, I think some folks are hoping it will be Will Barton.
Yeah.
And I would imagine they're feeling that way extra so now after that game. You have three, I think, playmakers and then ranging from primary to secondary sort of ball handlers out there. Do you have shooters? Do you have scorers? I mean, and I mean that in every capacity. Guys that can break it down and create their own shot, guys that can get to the rack. Who's the spot up shooter that's a threat in that unit? It's certainly not PJ. I think Monte, great regular season shooter, but is he striking fear into the heart of the defense? So I think what you saw was no Will Barton.
I think a lot of it had to do with first off, there was no balance out there.
No balance.
You have three guards, really, point guards essentially on the court at the same time. But I think a lot of it had to do with Monte and Facu. They're passers. They're passive players. They want to get everyone involved. They're playmakers, and a lot of it going into it was can we even play next to each other? That was questions that we've asked. That's questions that have been going around. And then you put them together, and there's just nothing that they could do because they're like, okay, I don't want to be the guy that takes the shot. I don't want to be the guy that's having the ball too long. I want to move around and things like that. So I think that it was just being uncomfortable and in a position or playing a sport that they're really comfortable playing. So I think that it was just like being cognizant, like, okay, I'm going to make the extra pass, and then no scoring came of it.
But are you concerned at all from what you saw? Because let's be honest, that second unit looked great once they put in Zeke Naji and RJ Hampton in those spots. Then it came to life. But
I was going to ask you guys, like, what do you – if you had to try to prognosticate, like, what do you envision the primary second unit consisting of as we go? Like, because it wouldn't be what we saw. Like, that just was so clunky and didn't work.
I think
right?
we might have seen it tonight.
You think so?
This is game one, man, and that was really it was the first stint that looked so bad. I mean,
well, totally. But like, do you envision a world where it's Composure, Facu, Monte?
I do.
Green and Hartenstein.
I think that might be exactly what it is.
I mean, so here's the one thing, and I've talked actually to George Carl about this. If you don't know, we're going to do the Keeping It 1000 podcast. This year, every year, training camp doesn't end until about 2 or 3 weeks into the season. In a coach's perspective, they view that as, I mean, you're trying to win the game, so it's a little different, but you're still experimenting. You're still trying different things. To me, I think the Nuggets are not going to arrive at their second unit on day one.
Yeah.
Like through 3 preseason games, they're going to be like, this is our group. I think they're going to be tinkering. You know, they have so many guys, they're going to be tinkering around a little bit, seeing what happens. But I will say that when I saw the lineup on the court today and I saw where they were struggling, as much as I love having 3 playmakers in PJ Dozier, Monte Morris, and Campazzo offensively, it just didn't work because I didn't think there was any spacing. They wouldn't. You couldn't reward having 3 playmakers.
There was just nothing. There was like nothing. At a certain point during that little stint, I was like, should I pay attention to this? There's like nothing to be pulled from this. It's like barely basketball. But it's just so, I don't know. For me, even though none of it was working, just seeing these pieces like that have just been names and ideas and videos we've been making,
so fun,
like
right?
turn into actual like real NBA players, and like watching them run around and like what they look like, and seeing what RJ Hampton's like tendencies are, and figuring out that the Facu can like legitimately play. Like, dude, that one-handed pass that he whipped into the post was so disgusting.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Stonk report on the second unit is going to be wait and see. I mean, like I said, with the negatives, I think are easier for me to say wait and see, where the positives, you're just like, hook it to my veins. Jokic is MVP. Let's do it. But I think the second unit for sure is a wait and see. And I would say leaning towards a, like, you know, don't think that's it. I think I think that we might need a little bit of a change.
Is there some step below wait and see, or just go wait and see right to sell?
We really need more steps.
We need more steps. This is a much more nuanced conversation. It's
been so long now, it's hard to remember, though, guys. Like, that bench was pretty rough to start the season last year, so it may just take some time.
Speaking of rough, this one I think is going to be controversial. We're going to go back into the starting lineup. We're going to go look back into the box score here. Michael Porter Jr., we're all big believers.
Oh, boy.
Guy just doesn't miss.
Never misses.
Well, tonight he missed a lot.
It's quite a few times.
Tonight he goes 3 of 12. He gets 7 points. He does grab 7 rebounds, 1 assist. All right, I'm going to start with the positives. I felt like he was cutting. I felt like he was rebounding. I felt like he was trying to not force shots in the first half, and then he started missing. And then in the second half, I was just like, we're back to the old Michael Porter. So I feel like we got good Michael Porter, and he missed all of his shots, probably started feeling bad about him. Second half, we went into, and it was like, okay, it just doesn't feel comfortable and isn't really shining. What did you see from him, Vogt?
Yeah, I didn't hate the process the whole way. I know he missed some shots. I think this is sort of your take, so I'm stealing it. Sorry.
Go for it.
But I think
now.
is very conflicted between his very strong first basketball instinct, which is I should shoot this, and what I think what he understands intellectually about where he's at in his career, which is what the rest of us are saying about him.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you are what you are, and Michael Porter Jr. is a scorer. He's a bucket getter.
Yeah.
So back to the positives, the things that you did see is he made a lot more passes than he's used to. He like made sure to try to get Jokic involved. A lot of those like baskets that he did have early was him, about to shoot it, and put Jokic in a good spot. I think that he was active defensively, at least trying.
Yeah. Yep.
There was times that like guys are going up for layups, and he's at least trying to do it. And those are things that we did not see last year. He didn't try to play defense.
Right.
So you could tell that he's recognizing that he does have to give a little bit more effort on there. And then also when the shots, even though he was missing, he kept shooting. That's a player that's going to have to shoot, even if he has good days, even if he has bad days. And a player that shoots the type of shots that Michael Porter Jr. does, there's going to be bad days. Today was a bad day.
Yeah.
What do you think, Eric, of Michael Porter?
So it's tough because Michael Porter Jr. could not have come in any higher stonk in my personal just opinion of him. Like the way we've been talking about him, it's like hearing little rumblings from practice. It's like he didn't miss all day. Michael Porter Jr. has turned into the Superman. Like I'm just ready for that transformation. And he just kind of looked like Michael Porter Jr. in a lot of ways. Like he was making a lot of mistakes. He was he was just kind of like. I don't know. Like I just saw shades of last year's Michael Porter Jr. where you were like, oh man, he's going to get yanked. The lucky thing for him is that like there's not he doesn't have the short leash that he did last year.
That's true. That is true.
It seems like he was allowed to sort of like play through his mistakes, and then he just kept making them. So I don't know where that leaves us exactly, but I mean, I still am a 1,000,000% believer in Michael Porter Jr.
Well, of course, you believe it in his talent. The big question this year is not a question of does Michael Porter have talent. It's a question of like can he become the third like. Jokic and Murray are such a duo. Can they become a trio? Because I think creating a duo is hard. You have to have the talent, but it's not that hard. Creating a trio is really hard, man. I mean, it's almost like a relationship.
Oh.
You know, it's very hard to welcome in a third member in a relationship.
Is it?
I can tell you guys from experience, it's very difficult.
I feel like we're bringing in a fifth to our relationship here. I feel like it's going like
it's off the rails. It's completely off the rails.
Well, I have to say.
Eric, I thought that we were on the same page.
We are. That's what I'm saying. It's going well. Adam's the one that had with all his trepidation.
They're saying this is DNVR After Dark now in the comment section. No, but Dev, I'm curious what you thought just about this. Did Michael Porter's integration into what Denver's trying to do seem better than what we had seen last year?
I say yes.
Okay.
I really do. Even though it was a bad game, I think that he showed some things that we did not see last year. Passing the ball, playing defense are two of the biggest issues he had.
He had a great pass to Jokic, man, a great one. Yeah.
So I don't know how you could be upset about that because the shots didn't fall.
Right,
we know that the shots are going to fall eventually.
It's true.
Just not today. But he did the things that everyone else questions about him, and those are positives. Those are wins.
What's funny is if he goes 3 of 12 tonight, and he had some good looks, including at the rim. I mean, if he goes 6 of 12 tonight, even if those are all twos, he ends up with 13 points as second leading scorer. So I do think there is a lot to do with just the shots didn't fall, so every other aspect of his game tonight felt a little bit worse. That being said, his third quarter stretch was the one that concerned me because, again, it didn't go well for him early, and I felt like he pressed a little bit. And I think this is a scorer's mentality, right? Like when you're scoring, you feel like you're contributing to the team.
Yep.
And when you're not, you feel like you're not, even if you're doing all that other stuff. And I felt like in that third quarter tonight, he looked like a player that was like, I got to do something because I'm not contributing. And I didn't have a problem with his game until the third quarter, and then I was like, okay. His grade went from B- because he missed shots to like C+ because he took some bad ones. And
I'll write that down.
This was a C+ game. This was a C+ game for Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some of the fun guys, man. Zeke Naji, the crowd is wanting. They're begging for some Zeke Naji takes. And I'm not gonna lie, guys. I didn't see Zeke Naji being a guy that made the headlines today, but he really was. Like to me, it goes Campazzo. If you're talking about positive headlines, Campazzo, Jokic. Zeke Naji, baby.
Whoa,
Zeke Naji,
3.
I did not expect him to be here. I'm trying to go. He gets 10 minutes. He has 7 points. He goes 2 of 3 from the floor. Felt like he had more than 2 buckets. Not going to lie. There was 2 loud buckets.
He had a really – because they were like such technically beautiful buckets. Like his shot is nice to look at.
Stepped into him with confidence, yeah.
Between Malone's comments about how he's looked in training camp and our live reaction to the draft pick, I think we set folks up for some low expectations.
That's so true.
In the last month. Look,
that's so true. We have really undersold Zeke Naji, man.
I was scrolling through YouTube earlier, and there was like a thumbnail of the CBS grades that came out after the draft. They gave Zeke Naji a C-.
Oh, wow.
So take that. Everyone's wrong, not just us.
Look, Najee comes into the NBA with an NBA-ready skill, which is hustle. Like he's just gonna run around and do the right. He's got some Facu in him, right?
Yeah.
Even though he's a much bigger body, and there's an infectious sort of energy to that. I only think we'll see him in spurts like that if we see him at all this season. But I think it's the kind of thing where we'll have fans clamoring in the comment section all night. Hey, let's talk about Zeke. I liked his energy out there.
Do you have an official
stonk report
on his stonk? What are you doing with his stonk?
What are we doing with the stonk here? I'm going to go ahead and say that I am in Man, I don't know if I'm like a full-on buy yet, though.
You
know what? I'm buying now. I'm buying now just because I'm buying.
Stocks are cheap.
It's very cheap. I'm buying a couple. I'm buying I'm not buying a lot. I'm buying a little bit
You'd
here.
be silly not to buy
You'd be
it.
silly not to buy. The stock is so low.
That block that he had,
Yeah,
that
the
was,
block shot,
you
yeah.
got to buy it off of that alone. But also what he did that was so great was he just fit in. He knew where to be on the floor, and that's something that you really don't see with rookies. And then he's a big guy that can shoot the ball. Piano Man was in the spots.
Piano Man. Is he really going to be Piano Man?
He has to be Piano Man.
It's too easy.
He has to be
Yeah.
Piano Man. Piano Man was at his spots. He hit his shots. You need that from a big guy that can space the floor, and especially with players like Jokic, Murray, Michael Porter Jr., who have so much gravity, and then you have a guy that's out there that can space the floor like Ibaka-ish and things like that, that could just knock down the shot.
Yeah.
So it was great, so I'm going to buy.
It is funny that he had I think 20-something block shots in college. It was very, very few. And then he comes out tonight and has a very high-profile one. Yeah.
Yes, I guess I got to call my stunk broker.
What are you doing here?
Well, I'm going to buy too. I mean, I'm not going to listen to that impassioned plea by Dev and not buy some stunk on Zeke Naji. Let's do it. I mean, lock me in. Well,
let us know in the comments too. Are you buying his stock right now?
Let me tell you right now, the comments are buying.
They're buying Zeke Naji. He did have an infectious energy there, but it is true also just about. We look at we talk about that second unit, we look at the combinations, and, I think a lot of people are going to focus in on the size of Facu and Monte, and that they're going to start there. But let's assume those guys are in, because I just have a hard time imagining Malone going away from either one of those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, quite frankly, I agree with it. So now you're looking at, okay, well, does P.J. Dozier, does he just not fit with that unit? Is that a thing? Is it Jermichael Green just doesn't fit with those guys? Is it Hartenstein? Maybe one of those guys has to come out and, at least tonight, Zeke Naji, again, I still think those guys have a longer, a 10-game leash or something like that before the Nuggets make any trade. But Zeke Naji did fill out and knock down that shot, and it did seem to completely change the way that lineup changed.
I can't believe we lost this game, by the way. We haven't even talked about the fact we lost the game.
Well, it is preseason. It is preseason.
Is that really what you want to talk about, Eric? I think I got 2 minutes.
I'm going to sell my stonk on this Nuggets team. They don't have the heart.
Thanks, everybody. That's it here on YouTube. Don't forget, hit that like button, hit subscribe. What about R.J. Hampton? He got in early in this game, a lot earlier than I thought, than I was expecting. Dev, what did you see out of R.J. Hampton today?
I seen a rookie. Just trying to find his way. We just talked about how Zeke knew where to be on the floor. You can tell RJ is just out there. He's just out there. He's excited. He's just playing basketball. Just trying to find where I should be and things like that. And that comes with time. It was the first game in the NBA. There's jitters. There's just trying to know your way. There's the speed of the game. There's a lot of things that go with it. So I think that Hampton was just trying to find his way. So it'll come. It'll come.
Yeah. People are wondering why we haven't talked more about Facu. We talked a lot about him at the beginning. I'm sure when Harrison comes in from interviewing, he was actually speaking with Facu just moments ago. I'm sure we'll circle back and have more Facu love. But we did 15 minutes on Facu, guys. We're going to do a lot of minutes on Facu this year.
We're Facu'd out for it.
We're not. I'm not Facu'd out.
Just for a little bit.
A little bit. RJ Hampton. I will say the one thing that does stick out to me is just his speed, man. That guy. You always bring this. This is your point, Brennan. You always talk about how guys move. He moves different, man. He moves like a track star.
And you could actually even see that, even though nothing really went well for him tonight, or he didn't really have a moment. You can just sort of see he glides. It's a little gazelle-ish. And
very gazelle-ish, actually.
He's very gazelle-ish.
It actually is very gazelle-ish. He's right. He's actually right. He does run as a gazelle runs.
Very
cool.
And, man, he looks bigger out there than I guess anticipated. I don't know. So what you saw out there was okay, that body belongs out there. I agree with you. He moves different.
Yeah.
But I'm also with Dev here. He was just running around out there, especially on defense. It was just chasing the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. To me, I just saw shades of Will Barton in him too. Something about
Will Barton has weird movements too. You're right. Will Barton has a very
a herky jerky.
He taught himself how to play basketball. So all the moves are just kind of self-made.
Yeah. So, but he looks like he has the athletic. I mean, everything we've been talking about leading up. You saw it on display. He's a super athletic guy that is very young. Had trouble in the league he just played in when he went up against grown men. The NBA also full of grown men, so it's going to take a little time for him to get there. But you can tell he has all the tools.
Yeah, the one. He definitely is. I think we knew this coming into this game, but I think behind the next up line.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So all of this stuff is just like found money for him. These are probably some of his only.
Right.
Yeah,
You know-
I don't feel like we're going to see a lot of him
No.
as the season starts up.
The one, so stock wait and see for him, I'm guessing everybody, there's nothing really to take
wait
away.
and see.
One guy that I think you would say whose stock was down a little bit today,
Stock.
Stonk was down today, was Bol.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
And I'm going to throw this out here. I'm so
Sell.
curious to hear Harrison Wood come back, because I have a hunch that maybe there was some other reason that Bol didn't play a lot of minutes, because he was the last guy to get in tonight that got minutes. And we kept waiting for him to maybe be the first of the next, right? The first of the third string in and see where he goes. And he was really the last. And then when he was out there, he looked a little bit like a sad sack. I mean, he just didn't look like he had a whole lot of life to him.
Bull's got some Eeyore energy to him. He's got a little bit of Eeyore.
He had tremendous Eeyore energy tonight, but what did you take away just from what you saw? First of all, from him not playing till the very end, and then what you saw of him when he was in there.
I'm with you. I don't want to I'm going to sound like I'm being coy here. I'm really not. I'm just kind of talking on the pod. But, seeing in the comments there are people, what did Bull do to Malone? What does Malone think about Bull?
Well, we don't know.
But, I mean, also, sometimes these decisions can just be, these really sort of small internal things, right? Maybe you hear about a guy who, missed a practice and there's a suspension.
Right.
I wonder about times where you don't hear about that. But it happened.
Right.
And they're dealing with it their own way.
I would wager good money that Bull plays a lot on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my hunch. And maybe it's even one of those things where, you can't play 14 guys every single night. So tonight we're going to do things this way, and maybe it served an alternative purpose. Who knows? Maybe we'll find out from Harrison when he comes. But
I'm not ready for this season of complaining about Bol minutes. We went through this last year with MPJ. I don't know if I got this in me.
you would think that people would learn from it,
I don't know
that
if
it would
I've
be
got
like,
it in
yeah,
me,
but
man.
we probably haven't. But Dev.
I'm just trying to think of how I would play if I set the whole game and watched everybody else get in, and then I get in for the last six minutes. How I would play. It was the whole game. I was shocked that he didn't play more. And then when he got in, you could tell he just really wasn't into it. It was just how do you hype yourself up? His confidence seems to be low.
Confidence seemed really. I mean, he went to the foul line for what effectively would have, I think, tied the game or put them ahead or something like that. And he definitely had "I don't want to be here" energy to him.
Just threw the ball at the rim.
Yeah. Missed both.
I mean, he still rebounded well when he was in. He gets up the floor very well. He's a very mobile big. He didn't even look for his shot really. So it was just kind of like I don't even want to be here.
Three. He had that three he could have taken.
Yeah, and that's not what you see from Bol.
Right.
So like you guys said, I think that next game he plays, maybe when Harrison gets back, they'll say exactly what happened and things of that nature. But it was not a good Bol game. But that's not something that we should expect this year.
And maybe look, Yoke played a lot tonight, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he doesn't at all, and Bol starts or something crazy next game.
Just a slow start to the ROTY campaign year.
A very slow start. I think that's going through the notes. That's pretty much everybody. I don't think we missed anybody. We did see some mini lads line up. We did for a very second. We talked about this. You don't know this is like an inside joke here. Somebody in our comment section on this very show kind of threw it out, and it's true. 4 point guards, because there was a moment when we had
with no center.
who was it? Was it Jamal Murray? Was the fourth?
No, it was Jokic.
Well, Jokic was the point guard, but then you had
when it was
you had
the
Composure.
longest of all of
and it was like Composure was at the 4 or something at one moment. So they've had. I think R.J. Hampton was the 3. That was the other one. Who's a point guard.
Look who it is, everybody.
Oh
Look
my
who it
goodness,
is.
the man with the wind in
do you
his hair.
feel a wind blowing in?
I know everybody's wondering if Dev replaced me on the show.
The answer, of
I'm
course, is
still
yes.
on the post-game show.
Harrison, and you're right in time, man, because we were just wrapping. We've actually talked about everything. So literally everything you're about to tell us is stuff we've already discussed.
Sounds like we're back in in-season mode here.
Start the counter.
It does seem like that. All right, so Harrison, before we get to your takes about this game, I'm most interested in how this post game went. You can start. You can tell me where you want to start here.
I want to start with Facu because I think he was probably the story tonight.
Well, we have hundreds of Argentinians in the chat right now that also want you to start with Facu. So
if you could actually give this in Spanish, it would be like
the thing that jumps out about Facu, and he said this during his first press conference when he got to Denver, he's so happy to be here. He's fulfilling a dream, and he's just such a positive dude.
Yeah.
His energy is just kind of contagious. How hard he plays on the court is just kind of contagious. And I just think it's going to be such a potent just tool for this bench unit all season long. It's going to make the regular season incredibly watchable. It's going to be an incredible watch this Nuggets regular season.
The preseason's incredibly watchable.
Yeah, but just his passion for the game. I thought Isaiah Hartenstein had a really good quote about Facu. He said he does all the little things, and that's something we were talking about when we were watching the game.
You're 2 for 2.
He does all the little things, and I think his stat line was like 8 points, 3 assists tonight. Like he impacts the game well beyond the stat line. And it seems like everybody knows that he's that type of player.
So can he keep this up for 72 games? Because that's one of my questions. Like that dude was playing a little. I mean, he was playing really hard. I was impressed, but he's diving after balls. It's preseason.
I asked Michael Malone that, and he said, "We'll see," because he pretty much said from watching Facu, and we've been talking about this. Mike Malone, as big of a Facu fan as they come, he's watched him play at Real Madrid. He's watched him play at Argentina. He said it's the only way he knows how to play. So we'll find out. Can he keep it up? I don't know, because he already played 22 games for Real Madrid this season. So if he keeps this up through 72, that will be 90-something games at this level. That's a lot.
The Danny Rojas of the NBA.
Did anybody else on the team mention Facu in their media availability besides Malone, of course?
I think everybody was asked about him. PJ said he loved playing with him. He loves playing with 2 point guards and playing at a fast pace, which that's going to be a big key for this Nuggets bench unit, really this entire season. If this is pretty much the 5 that they're going with, which I think it might be, they're going to have to play fast and get the ball up the floor, and, I mean, that's what Facu can do.
No.
Let's see. Nikola on Facu was interesting because he was asked, Facu might have surprised some people with his play tonight, the flair, the intensity, the energy. Nikola pretty much just said it's because people don't know him. I know him. He said, I know him. I know what his game's all about. But a lot of people here don't. And I think that's true. This is just how the guy plays every time he's out on the basketball court.
So here's a question for you. I'll start over on this side. Is this going to be contagious? Meaning, no, I don't expect anybody to play as hard as this dude does. I mean, when you're that tiny and you make it in the, you got to play that hard. But do you think it's going to be one of those things where he can't be the only one on the court, so everybody's kind of like, all right, we got to match it?
Well, if you look at the players, especially like as it's going to be the starters that come in after that.
Yeah.
Jamal Murray is a person that builds himself up.
That's true.
So now you have another person that's bringing him contagious ball, of course. Gary Harris loves defense. So you have a guy that's playing all-out defense and things like that. Will Barton loves basketball.
Yeah.
So, you have Facu out there.
Those two guys, Murray and Barton, do bring it a lot. I mean, those guys, they're not like Facu's like the Energizer buddy, but those guys usually have the effort.
Yep, and then you have a person like Jokic who likes a player that's going to set him up and put him in good spots and get everyone else involved because he's an unselfish superstar. So when you have a player that comes off of your second unit and then you have everybody else that's playing really hard, because we know Monte gives his all, and you have other guys like that, of course it's going to be contagious. And I think that it's a very good addition. And we already know that Michael Malone is going to use him a lot. He's going to use him.
Michael Malone will not bench him. He's like the least bench. Like there's Jokic, there's Murray, and then there's Facu. Like
Michael Malone definitely wanted to end this game with Marcus Howard at point guard, but he could not take Facu out. He just couldn't do it.
You can't in a preseason game. You can't do it.
Did you guys see late in the fourth it goes to timeout and Malone goes to shake Facu's hand?
Yes,
and it's the most intense look of love in his eyes I've ever seen.
It was. It was like the embrace I always wish I'd gotten from my own father.
You remember Malone talking about Facu for the first time. Oh, I could watch Facu highlights all day. It's what I do when I'm depressed. Facundo Campazzo. I just love saying his name. Yeah. He loves that guy.
Yeah. All right, Harrison, what else we got? Give us some more nuggets, man, from the post game.
Yeah, let's see here. Facu on playing with Monte, a big takeaway. I'm sure you guys have hit on it. The bench unit and how they really struggled and then turned it around. Playing with Monte, he says like there's no defined rules on who brings it up. It's just kind of them two playing the point. You can run offense one possession. I'll run offense one possession. And if you think about it, like Facu has been here for a week, maybe 2 weeks. It's going to take time for a bench unit of guys who have never been around each other before to gel. Right. I mean, it just is. I think that bench unit can be good, but I mean, everybody knows it's going to take some time.
Yeah. What do Jokic have to say?
Jokic
We talked. Let me just share this with you.
Okay.
We all think that Jokic is setting the table for his greatest season, or he's going to be.
Setting
he
the
looks
table.
incredible.
He's already jumped into the feast. He's already eating, baby. It's his best season.
Whatever you want to phrase this.
I think he could be. I mean, he's certainly in great shape for early season Jokic. He was actually asked about his shape, if he's in the best shape of his career. He said he doesn't know, but he probably thinks that during the last playoffs in the bubble, he was in the best shape of his career. So, but I mean, we know he's in good shape. He was moving quick. He was beating guys up and down the floor. His energy, I thought, was like the biggest storyline. Like that was my number one takeaway. Jokic looks amazing.
He was on the bench, like talking to people, like coaching them up. It was like he was so engaged. It was unbelievable. I had to do it like a double take. I was like, is this early season Jokic?
Man,
like this time last year, I mean, obviously not this exact time, but this time in the NBA season, we were just preparing defenses why it was okay that he was so overweight. Right? Like now we're like, no, oh my God, he's just like totally engaged this time.
That's why I want to circle back to Adam's question about Facu. I think it can be contagious, and I think that stuff's really important. I mean, you saw Jamal Murray waving that towel and jumping up and down, and this is a game where he didn't play well at all, right? But Jokic and Murray, like they can't come out and say this, so I'll say it for them. They are waiting for the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think, we've talked about bringing in fresh blood, but you bring in a guy like Facu, like every practice, every preseason game, like it's going to have these vibes. And I think this team, probably year 4, year 5 of this iteration, you could say, they need that jump start. Yeah. And I think it's important. Yeah,
definitely provide some life. Any other good nuggets you have for us here?
I thought PJ Dozier's night was interesting, and he maybe when healthy could be one of the odd guys out. Like if Will Barton is healthy, you probably got to cut somebody from that bench unit. I think Dozier should be in the rotation. I think he should be playing. I thought he had a good night. He knows that his ticket to the rotation is his ability to play 3 positions. And he even played some 4 today, although I don't see that really happening in the regular season.
The mini lads, yeah.
But he knows he has to play the 1, 2, and 3. He knows he needs to be cognizant of the play calls, how to run everything from those 3 spots. And everything you hear about PJ Dozier is that he's super impressive in the film room. He's super impressive just on the practice floor, implementing what the coaching staff wants him to. So I think he's in a good spot to take advantage of, that spot in the bench lineup. I think he's in this rotation for sure.
Yeah. Anything on Michael Porter's night?
Surprisingly, no, actually.
Yeah, it's because it wasn't a good one.
Yeah.
It usually doesn't stop us from shoehorning some questions.
Maybe the first night I can remember where we weren't asking questions about Porter's night, which was interesting.
So I guess that Jamal Murray is trying to push that Facu's nickname is Spider-Man.
Spider-Man?
Where does that come from?
Spider-Man.
I think Facu's the type of guy who just goes by one name.
Yeah, he's Facu.
He's
dude.
Facu.
Like, calling me Facu.
He even told us that he was Facu.
Also acceptable tiny king mini lad.
But the thing is, though, like once your nickname is Facu, like it's over. Like we're not looking for any other replacement nicknames. It's Facu.
I can't call him
Spider-Man's also like, man, I'm telling you.
I'm not going to call him Spider-Man.
Players,
no way.
Players rarely should nickname themselves, man. I'm telling you this. Like, people don't remember this because Kobe went on to become a legend. But when he first came out as the Black Mamba, it was like, dude, you can't do that to yourself. You don't get to just tell us what to call you. And it stuck with him because he was so good and so liked and everything else.
One example where it worked. Where
exactly.
Gave themselves a nickname.
That's what I'm saying. He's the one example. But I don't like players. I don't know. But that's not a great nickname.
Look, Jamal in the bubble, like you do whatever you want. But with the nicknames, we got Blue Arrow and Spider-Man. I don't know if Jamal's our nickname.
True. Jamal might not.
But doesn't Donovan Mitchell already have like?
He's already Spider. Oh, this is what he's doing.
Spider.
This is what he's doing. He's trying to. Oh, this is great. Actually, you know what? I'm in on it now. I'm in on it.
I don't want to get back into a uniform thing, but I don't know if we could have a nickname and a uniform. Let's pass.
No, I want to hear this. What's your complaint?
Well, we have the Utah Jazz uniform, and then we have.
Oh,
the
that's
Utah
so
Jazz.
true. We're just copying them.
Facu is Spider-Man.
Dude, Jokic should be called the Eiffel what's it?
The Stifle Tower.
There, I got nailed it. All right, Harrison. Anything else before? Actually, anything else before we get out of here?
I think there were some positives from Gary Harris tonight.
Okay, let's talk about those positives.
He missed some layups around the rim, but he was getting to the rim with force, aggressively. And that's kind of been half the battle with him. Instead of pulling up for some of those floaters. I don't think he took a floater tonight, did he? I don't think so.
No. Yeah,
he didn't.
He like purposefully didn't.
Yeah.
Right,
a few times.
And
yeah.
here's an important question for you, Harrison Wind. What are you doing with your Gary Harris stonk?
I'm buying.
Oh, he's buying.
You can buy Dev's. Dev's sold
Dev is selling.
all of his Gary
We're
Harris stonk.
reminding people. We're reminding.
This is being recorded also, just so you know.
I don't think I've ever sold Gary Harris stock, so I've got a lot of it, and I want even more.
You're always buying.
Yeah. No, I thought he showed some flashes tonight. I think he's moving in the right direction. It was encouraging, I thought.
Yeah.
I have a question for Wind.
Okay.
Did anyone ask about Bol Harrison and him checking in late? And
Oh yeah. Was there any update on Bull?
No.
Perfect.
No update on Bull.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah. I was very surprised that Zeke Naji, who I thought looked pretty good out there,
Yeah.
Super good.
and I think is closer to being ready than a lot of one-and-done guys. I was surprised that Bull came in after him and R.J. Hampton. That was very surprising.
And it is funny too, because like we've gotten a little hype from Malone out of Bol, and it wasn't like he was setting the table for Bol maybe not playing or this or that. So I was a little surprised that he played so few minutes. But like I said, for me, it's preseason. There's a lot going on. I would just say, on Wednesday's show, the Nuggets are back in action on Wednesday. On Wednesday's show, if Bol plays 6 or fewer minutes, well, it becomes a bigger talking point. That moves up the chart. But in this first game, I just don't. I think we've talked about it. I think it's enough.
Yeah,
so we'll go.
I agree.
So everybody, thank you for tuning in on this live show on YouTube. It's our preferred place, DNVR. You're going to want to also hit the subscribe button, hit the like button,
baby.
And by the way, guys, we do this Monday through Friday just as a regular podcast. So you can get it on iTunes, you get it on Spotify, or you can watch us live 2:00 every weekday, Monday through Friday. We're talking about the Denver Nuggets. We're going over practice notes. We're going over all the latest news, everything else. We got guests. So you're going to want to check back with us all through the year. I know we picked up a lot of new people, especially from Argentina, I think, today. Bienvenidos. We welcome you.
Bienvenidos.
Thank you for coming here. We're so excited. We got Germany with Hartenstein. We've got
Very
Serbia.
international.
We've got Canada.
I got to tell you, as soon as we capture the city of Denver, we're going to be
Slovenia.
We got Slovenia in the house. But we're going to be doing this all year, guys, and we can't wait for it. And, of course, the new addition, Superstar Dev, your first one. How's it feel?
It feels great. Thanks for having me. I've always loved being a guest on the show, but now I'm here. I'm officially here. I'm all in.
And again, maybe work on your drafting a little bit. It's not going to be the last draft you're a part of. I can't have another fast food performance like we saw last.
The thing that bothers me about the draft is I really did mess up on that draft, but then I kept watching. You got worse from that draft. You did good on that draft and then started to get worse from that draft.
That's true. Well, listen, at least I started from a top place and went down. I mean, you're already in the basement.
And then I get to go up. I get to come back up.
Let's go home.
Last little note, guys. We are doing this player preview series, and we've already got, I think, 6 or 7 of these out already. So you're going to want to go through our channel and check those out. And then become a member. For $5, you become a DNVR member. You get access to all of our premium content, which includes written stuff, video stuff. George Carl behind the paywall right now talking about all these guys. It's really good stuff. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.